A Tuesday afternoon. Everyone on Earth just dies, no warning. People drop where they sit. In a small American town, Dell believes he's the last man alive. He's built himself a routine. He lives in the library where he used to work, keeping every book organized and preserved. For food, he raids supermarkets and fishes, since fish are still alive, unlike everything else. Every day, Dell picks one house in town and cleans it out. He covers his face, takes every photo he finds, grabs anything useful, batteries, gas, and brings the books back to his library. If he finds a body, he wraps it in its own sheets and buries it with an excavator. Then he marks an X on the house and another X on his map. One night, after watching an old movie like always, Dell hears an explosion outside. Fireworks, lighting up the sky. Someone else is alive. The next morning, he goes to investigate and finds a crashed car. Inside is an unconscious woman, Grace. She'd been drinking. The fireworks were hers. She also has a gun. Grace wakes up in a random house with a bandage on her head. She's locked in. Dell questions her from the other side of the door. She hasn't seen anyone else either. She doesn't know why she's alive. The gun was just for safety, she says. She found it on the road. Dell doesn't want her around. He's prepared a car for her and tells her to count to 100 before coming out. That's his condition for opening the door. She breaks the deal instantly and opens the door early. Dell storms out, gives her the keys, and walks off without another word, ignoring her completely when she says she wants to stay. But Grace doesn't give up. She starts following him around, offering to help clean houses. 2 pairs of hands means faster work, she argues. Maybe they could move to the next town. Dell shuts that down. In his mind, there is no next town. Still, Grace tags along anyway. She brings noise and energy into his life, something it's been missing for a long time. He shares food with her, but makes her eat at a separate table. He refuses to talk about theories on what caused all this. One evening, he finally snaps and tells her he was already lonely before the apocalypse, even when surrounded by people. Grace gives up. She packs and heads for a car. But just as she's about to leave, Dell stops her and says she can stay, on a trial basis. From there, Grace starts cleaning houses with Dell and learns his system. She discovers something strange. He remembers every single body's name. He even remembers which ones owe him library fines. When they bury someone, Grace notices Dell never says anything for them. She tells him that every time she passed a body on the road, she'd hold her breath for 10 seconds, out of respect. Just to humor her, Dell starts doing it too. He still tells her sometimes that he misses the quiet, especially when she won't stop talking or blasts music in the truck. But he doesn't push her away anymore. One afternoon, while Dell is out, Grace sneaks into his office. She finds an entire filing system, organized photos of every house, every body. It's unsettling. She doesn't know what to make of it, so she goes for a bike ride to clear her head. She hears a noise from a house and finds a dog. Somehow, it survived too. She brings it back to the library as a pet. Dell isn't thrilled, but suggests a few names anyway. In the end, they just call it Dog. Slowly, Dell and Grace grow closer. They start eating at the same table. She shares stories from her childhood, like the 2 goldfish she used to have. But she still won't tie her hair up because she's hiding a scar on the back of her neck. A few days later, they catch Dog destroying a book. Dell tells Grace to keep cleaning while he takes the dog outside, and Dog bites him. Grace patches up the wound, but now Dell is fed up with the dog, and Grace's constant affection toward it doesn't help. The next morning, the dog is gone. Grace is sure she tied it up. While searching town, Dell admits he let it out to pee, which sounds like a flimsy excuse for getting rid of it. Grace is furious. Back at the library, she gets drunk and pulls out his photo files, accusing him of treating people like objects. She reminds him he was always lonely and bitter, but she had a family, happiness, and lost everything. Dell goes to bed heavy with guilt. The next day, he shows her his secret greenhouse and lets her care for the plants. An apology. He also officially ends the trial period, letting her clean houses on her own so they can cover more ground. They become equal partners. Grace helps cook now too, though her scar stays hidden. She also finds a pair of walkie-talkies so they can stay connected while working separately. One afternoon, Grace stumbles onto a house that isn't marked on the map. The moment she steps inside, Del comes after her, furious, telling her she shouldn't be there. This was his childhood home. He tells her about the first deaths he ever witnessed, children at recess. Then he finally agrees to clean the house with her help. Burying his own mother hits differently than burying strangers. This time, Del holds his breath far longer than 10 seconds. Afterward, Grace says there's something she needs to tell him. Instead of saying it, she kisses him. He falls asleep. Del wakes up the next morning in the same house where he first found Grace. He grabs the gun left there and heads downstairs, and finds Grace eating breakfast with two strangers. Grace calls them her parents, though she doesn't sound convinced herself. The strangers, Violet and Patrick, explain, way too cheerfully, that there's a whole community of survivors living together in California. Thousands of people. Del never knew because he never left his town, never saw the signs posted along the roads. Del realizes Grace let him believe they were the last two people alive. He storms out. Grace follows, explaining that Violet and Patrick aren't actually her parents. The community just assigned them to her. They weren't even married before this. She thinks the whole system is insane. Del doesn't care. He pushes past her, drives back to the library, and breaks down completely. Back at the house, Violet asks Grace to come with them to California. She can't keep doing this alone. She says they need to be a real family. Before they leave, Patrick visits Del at the library. He invites Del to come too. His skills would be valuable, he says. There's a team of doctors in California working on ways to harness the human mind. Del isn't interested. Patrick writes down the address in one of Del's books, just in case he changes his mind, and leaves. Grace leaves town with Violet and Patrick, crying the entire way, staring at the scars on the back of her new parents' necks. Dreading what's waiting for her in California, Del tries to go back to his routine, but now the silence is unbearable. He starts smashing things inside his old childhood home out of pure frustration. That night, he dreams of Grace watching old movies with him in the library. The next day, he pulls out all his photo files and for the first time actually describes what he sees out loud. Every face, every name, their jobs, their personalities, even what books they like to read. He realizes something. He was never really alone. He just never let himself connect. Desperate now, he tears through the library, careless with the books for the first time ever, searching for the address Patrick left behind. The trip to California is brutal, but Del's a survivor. Whenever a road is blocked or he runs out of gas, he just switches to another abandoned car and keeps moving. When he finally arrives, the sight of a city with working lights overwhelms him. He pushes through his discomfort and tracks down Grace's house. Patrick and Violet are still around. So Del waits until nightfall, until everyone's asleep, then grabs the gun and breaks in. He finds Grace's room. What he sees is disturbing. Grace is hooked up to a machine, undergoing behavior modification designed to erase her memories of the apocalypse and the family she lost. Every person in this community has gone through the exact same thing.